Good morning and welcome to a very special episode of the Toolshed. Toolshed, as always, brought to you by Schedule Engine and made possible by the fantastic team at Emerson, the place you come to make every job just a little bit easier. Now you're probably saying, Eddie, what's so special? Well, to those of you that study industry legends, you already recognize the guest in today's studio, none other than the OG himself, Steve Coscia. We were talking beforehand about how we met each other, back when Comfort Tech was a thing. Mm-hmm. But Steve, why don't you say hi and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be an insightful time. I suggest you get a piece of paper, you get a pen, take some notes.
I love it, and you're right, because I've been, not to be weird, but I've been following you online for a while, and you've been doing this for years, but recently you've been sharing more and more of your journey. I know you've been across the country, you share, obviously work insights, but you share personal insights, and you've been traveling, it seems like everywhere. You probably talked to hundreds of contractors. Why don't we start? They've got their pencil and paper ready. Why don't we start with what have you learned on this sojourn through the country?
Well, what I've learned traveling around the country in my truck was that I used to fly over lots of contractors. So when I started consulting more than 20 years ago, I knew all the airports. And it's the way that I traveled. 2014, by serendipity, I decided to drive to Indianapolis to work with Chapman Heating and Cooling.
Oh, good
Jeff
folks.
Chapman's company.
Yeah,
great
good
company.
Folks. Yeah.
So I usually flew there, but I decided to drive. So I asked my marketing guy, I said, put up an image of me in the truck and a calendar. And so we did. And the message was, Steve is driving to Indianapolis.
Right.
And I got a call from a contractor in Dayton, Ohio on I-70. Said, hey, if you're going to be on I-70, can you stop here? Another contractor. And I said, well, I used to fly over all these companies. Right. So we just started to develop that, 2014, 15, 16. It turned into a whole marketing scheme and a whole way to brand what it is I do. Right.
And so like, where's Waldo is where in the world is Steve today? So as you're talking to all these contractors and you're now you're no longer flying over them, you're visiting, and you're seeing more and more of the brotherhood and sisterhood that makes up contracting. What are some of the key takeaways you would say you've seen?
Some of the key takeaways I've seen in this industry, we know that if you've got a great employee, a great technician, people at the executive level might say, boy, he would make a good manager, or she would make a good manager, and they promote the person to be a manager,
right?
Often without any managerial education.
Oh yeah,
without teaching the employee how to delegate, how to take corrective action, how to set goals. And without some of those basic managerial skills, you're not really setting up that great technician or great employee for success as a manager.
I totally agree. We see it all the time. The best installer gets to be the install manager. Best service tech becomes a service manager. And while they do all those things well, things like communication skills, how to give good feedback, how to encourage, all of those things, some are lucky to learn, but many of them have to sort of stub their toe along the way to figure that out, right?
They do, and I would say things have gotten much better.
Sure.
That we have a better level of service manager, install manager these days. And the latest thing I've been seeing and what I bring to my clients is, okay, if you can manage, how well do you conduct your weekly meeting?
Okay.
Leading a good weekly meeting with your technicians, with your installers is a vital thing, because the meetings are supposed to be really important. Right. And employees will only see them as being important if you show up as being prepared as the manager. And I've been on site in numerous client facilities where the service manager starts a meeting like this. No preparation.
I may or may not have been guilty of putting a sales meeting together in my head on the drive-in for a Monday morning. But that was old Eddie, new Eddie, totally get it. Preparation is really important. And you bring up a great point. We have all these meetings, and people like you and Jerry, you get asked, well, how do I make my meetings better? People don't like my meetings. And quite often it comes down to this simple thing you're talking about, which is preparation. So what's the byproduct of not preparing? What's the benefits of preparing for that meeting? What do you see?
So the benefits of preparation don't take a lot of time. So you go to your installation team and you, hey guys, what was the nightmare install you had this week?
Right.
And how did it look afterwards?
Right.
And they've probably got some photographs. And it takes a minute to have that conversation.
Yeah.
You get some photos. So you start the meeting with the big success story. Right. Look what Gene and Dave did this week. They got here, and this is what it looked like. When we finished, we got our brand on this install.
Right.
And everyone feels good about who we are now.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot of time to prepare. Creating an agenda in the course of the week is vital. And how do you do that? With a piece of paper and a pen. As situations come up in the course of the week, oh, they've got a shortage on those surface igniters or something else. And you just start to take notes.
Yeah.
And your agenda becomes real time.
Right.
It's everything that's happened in the last few days. When your employees start to experience this, they get the subconscious feeling that, oh, this guy really cares.
Right. He's showing up prepared.
Employees, here's the thing, Ed. No matter how hard we try to hide the truth from our employees, they always know what's going on. They always know what's really happening.
Yeah, and we've all been in that meeting where you know that person's winging it. They've been there's no point. This easily could have been an email, and get me out of here. So I love what you're saying, and so you have this meeting. It's engaging. It's real time. It's relevant. How does that help set up the team for a good week? And what are some of the other things that perhaps we need to consider?
Well, the employees start to see that, oh, he asked Gene and Dave about that install. What? I would like him to ask me. So now your employees are interested in the engaging part. Yeah. I just don't want to be a participant looking at the meeting. I want to be part of the meeting.
Right.
So now the manager starts to get feedback because employees are getting the idea these meetings are important. And the information, as you said, is relevant. So they start to feedback information. And the manager, just with better preparation, better presentation style, starts to get this real-time, honest feedback from the field.
Love it.
And all of this sounds easy, right? Hard work.
Right. So for those, hopefully you had the pen, some paper, you're keeping notes. Sounds like we start with preparation. You go to your team. You take, through the week, you take notes real time, and you call out people specifically. You start on a high, a success for the week. And what you're talking about and what you've just described is, I think it's the golden goose that everyone's looking for, culture, right? You hear, but your culture is just what you repeatedly do, right? It's the things you celebrate, it's the things you punish. And so what I love there is you just unpacked in very simple to-dos the secrets, perhaps, to make an engaged culture and a culture that is looking forward to the meetings, where like I believe we're all just Pavlov's dogs, and people train us how to treat them. And so what you're talking about, by demonstrating the behavior, look, I'm prepared, I'm going to be sharing stuff. People are coming in, they're like, oh, this is Tuesday morning, this is where we come and we're prepared and we engage. And you're really very simple. There's nothing simple, it's work, but what you've really laid out there is the secrets to creating an engaged culture.
Yeah, a good culture, and it's management's responsibility. Ooh. So when I get invited anywhere, the message I get is, can you help our frontline team?
Yeah, right.
That's never the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is usually someplace else, but it takes a little time to find that out. And the key thing about a manager being prepared for those meetings to motivate and inspire the employees, the key thing is learning how to tell a signature story. And it's one thing I've invested. A lot of my instructional design these last few years has been, I have this one sheet, how to tell a signature story, that I hand out at the conferences. A signature story is like your signature. It's unique. It's only yours. And when you learn how to tell that signature story, you are saying a story they've never heard before.
Right.
Because it's unique. It's only one of a kind.
Right.
And you tell an anecdote about a call you got this past week. Got a call from this one customer, and I remembered as she started yelling to the phone, don't say anything.
Right.
Just listen. Just be an active listener. Just be empathetic. Just understand her. And it worked. And you, in 30 seconds, you can tell a signature story about an event that happened in the last few weeks. And I can see it, you have too, that when you're speaking to a group and you start to tell a signature story, the audience starts to pick up and they lean forward. Everyone wants to hear the story.
I'm doing it right now. So can I ask you a huge favor? I know my friend Jerry is all about that. Could I ask you to come back and have that conversation with my friend Jerry?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So hopefully you've now got a full pad and paper. You put it in your planner. You're going to come back and you're going to hear all about how to do this amazing signature story you're going to lean in. And it's all made possible here at the Toolshed by our incredible friends at Schedule Engine. The whole team at Emerson is devoted to helping you and your team get better. We've got big thanks to our good Toolshed friend Steve and all of the nuggets he just dropped. Come back for more. We're gonna ask him to share more. We're so glad you're here at the Toolshed today. Thanks for coming.